What if I told you that beneath your cities, your streets, there's an entire world unknown to anyone? An underground labyrinth, dug not to extract stone, but to house life, secrets, and history. Welcome to a journey that will take you far beyond the surface, to a place where time has paused and silence is the only narrator. We are about to descend on Camerano in the Marche region, a city that hides another self, invisible yet incredibly real, right beneath the feet of its inhabitants. Prepare to discover a mystery that has waited centuries to be solved, a masterpiece of human ingenuity and a keeper of stories that will leave you breathless. Imagine walking through the streets of a quiet village, unaware that beneath every step lies an intricate network of tunnels and rooms, a true parallel universe. This is Camerano, a name that evokes the image of a typical Marche town, but which hides a secret city hidden from the eyes of the world. A Camerano that whispers mysteries from the depths of the earth. Entering this underground world is a bit like crossing a time threshold, a portal that catapults you into another dimension. As soon as you enter, you're enveloped in a unique, dense, almost palpable atmosphere. The air is fresher, the noise of the outside world fades to the point of disappearing, and the only thing you hear is your own heartbeat and the echo of your footsteps. This is not a simple hole in the ground, but a labyrinth dug with incredible precision, entirely out of the soft sandstone. These are not natural cavities or random geological phenomena. Every gallery, every niche, every room has been shaped by the hand of man with a very specific purpose. The route winds for kilometers, a complex network of tunnels, passages, and passages that branch out beneath the entire city. Here and there, majestic rooms open up, large and surprisingly regular spaces. What is most striking are the perfect domes that surmount some of these rooms, created with a mastery that defies logic, considering the tools and techniques of the time. They are not simple ceilings, but works of art, smoothed and shaped with an almost sacred care. And that's not all. On some walls, in the eternal silence of this underground world, you can admire friezes and sculpted decorations, silent testimonies of a distant past, whose meanings still puzzle us today. It's like walking inside a gigantic work of art, an upside down palace, where the sky is not blue but rock and the sun is only a vague memory. This hypogeum isn't just a geological curiosity, it's a monument to human ingenuity and perseverance, a truly incredible piece of underground architecture. Sandstone, relatively easy to work, allowed ancient builders to shape the rock as if it were clay, creating an environment that was not only functional but also aesthetically impressive. Every time a visitor ventures into these depths, they cannot help but ask themselves the fundamental question, why? Why would anyone bother creating such a labyrinth underground? The first hypothesis that comes to mind observing the quantity of rock removed is that underground Camerano was a quarry. But this idea quickly fades, like mist in the sun, once one understands the true nature of this place. The sandstone extracted from here was not of particular value for building purposes, and, above all, the structure of the tunnels and rooms themselves does not follow the logic of a mining excavation. It wasn't intended to provide stone for building houses or palaces above ground. No, this complex was created for a much more intimate and vital purpose. It was built for life. Think of a place that could offer shelter, safety, subsistence. Underground Camerano served as a silent refuge, a rocky embrace that welcomed its inhabitants in times of war, protecting them from the storms of history that battered them. Over the centuries, the Marche region has been the scene of conflicts, invasions, and sieges. When danger loomed, the people of Camerano didn't flee far away, but simply descended, finding salvation in the bowels of the earth. These tunnels offered protection from armies, looting, and violence, turning into an impregnable, invisible fortress. Children played, women cooked, with proper smoking precautions, of course, and men planned resistance, all in the reassuring protective darkness of the earth. But its uses went far beyond simple physical protection. The rooms of Camerano also contained secret places of worship. In times of religious persecution or social tension, when faith needed to be expressed away from prying eyes, these underground rooms offered a sanctuary. Imagine clandestine masses, ancestral rites, prayers whispered in the dark, lit only by dim candles, where the community gathered to feel united and protected. The friezes and engravings that can still be found today in some of these rooms are not simple decorations, but could be symbols, references to beliefs, prayers engraved in the rock, testimonies of a profound and at times clandestine faith. These spaces were not only physical but also spiritual places where the soul found peace and expression. And then there were the ancient wine warehouses. The constant temperatures and controlled humidity that characterize the underground environment are ideal for preserving wine, a precious commodity and fundamental to the local economy and culture. Entire sections of this labyrinth were dedicated to housing barrels and amphorae, protecting the nectar of the gods from sudden changes in temperature and prying eyes. Even today, Camerano's winemaking tradition is strong, and it's not hard to imagine that the roots of this passion lie right here, where the wine matured away from sunlight waiting to be enjoyed. This reveals a multi-layered and fascinating history, far more complex than one might imagine. Camerano Underground is not a single excavation, but a series of interventions, a continuous evolution over the centuries. It is thought that the first caves date back to the Piscine era, then enlarged and reused by the Romans and subsequently by the Benedictine monks until the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Each era has left its mark, each generation has added a piece to this underground puzzle. It is a history book written in stone, a silent testament to how man has always adapted, endured, and thrived even in the darkest of times. Gaida sa so parku dianan parm. The modifications, additions, and renovations of this space tell of how life above was reflected and organized below in a continuous dialogue between the visible and hidden worlds. Archaeologists and historians who have studied this site have highlighted the extraordinary continuity of use, a sign that this invisible city was an integral and vital part of community life. Entering underground Camerano is much more than a simple tourist visit. It is a deep immersion in an atmosphere full of mystery, almost mystical. Shadows dance through the corridors, creating plays of light and darkness that seem to come to life, telling wordless stories. Every corner is shrouded in a veil of mystery, a feeling that accompanies you as you delve deeper into this chthonic world. It is not a mystery made of fears, but of curiosity, of amazement at what man has been able to create. Each niche you encounter along the way seems to be the silent guardian of ancestral secrets. Perhaps it once contained an oil lamp or a votive statuette, or perhaps it was a hiding place for precious objects. We can't know for sure, but the suggestion is very powerful. Every tunnel, every passage, every space speaks of past lives, of hands that have dug, of voices that have resonated, of hopes and fears that have inhabited these places. The silence is so deep that sometimes you feel like you can hear the echoes of those distant lives. And then there are the halls, each a masterpiece of underground engineering. The precision with which they were carved, the harmonious proportions, the almost perfect symmetry of some of them, are an impressive testimony to the human ingenuity and craftsmanship of those who created them. It was not a random excavation, but a well defined project, an architecture designed to last over time, to be functional and in its own way also beautiful. The domes, in particular, are a marvel. Built without the aid of scaffolding or visible supports, they represent an art of emptiness, where the rock itself bends to the will of the builder. The silence in this world is almost absolute, interrupted only at times by the trickling of water filtering through the rock, a rhythmic, almost meditative sound which amplifies the sensation of being in a place outside of time. It is a sound that reminds you that despite the work of man, nature is always present, that the earth lives and breathes even in its depths. The constant humidity, the moss that sometimes clings to the walls, the smell of wet earth, everything contributes to creating a complete sensory experience, which connects you with the past in a primal way. Walking through these corridors, you lose track of what's happening above ground. Everyday worries fade away, and one is forced to confront the grandeur of time and the smallness of human existence. It's an experience that invites reflection, that makes you feel part of a story much bigger than yourself. It makes you wonder what other stories, what other secrets are still hidden beneath our feet, waiting to be discovered. Camerano Underground ultimately is the invisible city. It's not a utopia or a myth, but a concrete place, a perfect reflection of the world above, yet with a soul all its own. It is a place where time stands still, trapped in the heart of the earth, leaving a stone legacy that never ceases to amaze. It is a hidden treasure, a monument to human resilience, faith, and ingenuity. It is an invitation to look beyond the surface, to seek the stories that are not written in books but engraved in stone. If this journey into the heart of the earth has fascinated you, don't miss the next mystery. Click here to discover another secret that history has left us.